Hey guys, it's Daryl here. It's Thursday morning still. I'm busy at work here already, and I took a little break. And I made the mistake of going on Facebook. And if you guys are familiar with my channel, you know how I have a problem with Facebook these days. So I came across a Trump supporters post, and it was a post showing a CBS report that the Trump administration is considering drug testing food stamp recipients. So I looked at the comments, and of course, it was very divided. I read the article, which really didn't tell me a whole lot. It just looks like the Trump administration is trying to take away the safety net, whether it means possible. All right, let me tell you the truth of my past. I was a heroin and crack cocaine addict, and I do remember going along with people, taking rides with people, and manipulating. These people had food assistance, and it was a series. It was a last ditch effort to get money for drugs. These people would go to a bodega, one of the Puerto Rican Spanish stores in a particular part of the city, and ask them if they needed like baby formula or something like that. And they'd usually say yes. So they would then go to the Stop and Shop or whatever and use the food card to buy 30, 40 bottles of formula, expensive formula, about $7 or $8 a bottle. Take it back to the bodega and then sell it for a fraction of the price to get cash. I remember this happening quite a bit. It was a gross misuse of the food card. It was something I didn't even when there was things when I was a drug addict that I wouldn't do or I didn't want to be part of, that bothered me. Any kind of robbery or stealing, I couldn't be part of. I was a liar. I was a manipulator. But there was just some things that I just wouldn't get involved in, especially if it involved jail. You know what? To be honest with you guys, my thinking back then was, I can't get high if I'm locked up. And I'll be honest with you, that's what I used. That was my mindset back then. So there was a problem with these food stamps being abused. There was. And people are always going to find a way to abuse a system. A drug addict will use any means necessary. Like I've said before, when people are in withdrawals and laying, with no sleep for days, throwing up, sick, the mind gets very focused on one objective, to get drugs, and you'll think of any scheme, any method to get drugs. If it's not food stamps, it'll be something else. I remember people that would specifically, I had no part in this, but would specifically go around and steal ladders to sell the aluminum. Drug abuse is a costly, evil influence on society. That being said, I started thinking about how would you regulate people? Okay, you drug test them. What about alcoholics? People that spend every cent. What about people with other substance abuse problems? What about people with gambling addictions? That would they'll do the same. They would do the same thing with the food cards, I'm sure, for gambling money. What about them? What about people that are alcoholics? They would spend every cent. They also could abuse food cards if they can, and I'm sure they do. The same situation of abuse the food cards. So will you take away food privileges to eat from alcoholics? What about people? And I'm reminding you guys too that I'm just looking at this objectively. I've been clean and sober myself for 13 years, 100% completely clean and sober. If I have to go to an emergency room, I tell the doctors I will not take any pain medication. I refuse it. I had all my teeth pulled, and I believe the doctor forced me to take one Percocet, and that's all. I mean every tooth. I think it was like 24 in one day. Anyway, So I'm being objective about this, but what about people? Marijuana is legal now, so are you going to take away their food? What if somebody gets laid off? They're short on money. They need help with food. They have a prescription, or they're buying marijuana legally. Are you going to test them and take away their food? Somebody that validly has no income and needs help with food. Are you going to take away their food? What about people on methadone? Are you gonna take their food right away so they can't eat? And these people are trying to get clean and sober. They're doing the right thing by getting help for their addiction. But are you going to penalize them for that? It's going to test positive as an opiate. So are you going to set up some kind of system where you have to review everybody's medical files? Now you're talking about medical files and personal history. That's a very touchy subject legally for food. If you want to eat, you're going to have to provide all your personal information, your doctor, your prescriptions, all your background, your medical history, very personal information. If you want help buying a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk, you're going to have to provide us all your personal information. I don't know, that doesn't seem right. What about people on tranquilizers? What about people, say somebody gets hurt at work, they're on disability, they're not making, their income is severely slashed, say they had to have an operation, all legitimately, and they're on painkillers for a while. They're going to they legitimately need help. They got hurt on the job or whatever. They're taking painkillers. Now, how are you going to review that? Because it's going to come up positive as an opiate. So are you going to deny them food assistance when they're in dire need? They have no income. They got hurt on the job. How long would it take to review them? These people have no income and no food. They're suffering an injury. Are we talking months where you're not going to allow them food until you can verify all their personal information? You see where I'm going with this? And when you're talking about denying somebody sustenance, food, at first, like I said, I've witnessed people abuse the system. So at first, I start to think, well, something should be done about this. My suggestion, get the opinions of people like me that have seen how the system is abused and put an end to it. The bodegas that buy, like I was telling you about, buying this formula. I'm not saying penalty, but you need to stop this somewhere in the chain. If somebody's coming into Stop and Shop and buying 30 bottles of formula, maybe that's a flag. Maybe the bodegas are checked for this valuable merchandise that's being traded for food card money. I'm not suggesting that other people get arrested, like the bodega owners, instead of the people that are abusing the system. I'm just saying, I think there must be a better way to cut this chain, because what I was using, it's a last ditch effort. It's a long process from what I saw using that food card, because you can't just trade the food card for money. From what I've seen, you have to go buy the food and sell the food and then get the money. It's a long, drawn out process, and it's not a favorite from what I remember of drug addicts. But are you talking about just denying somebody that has a substance abuse problem food? Period. Even if they're just buying food with their food card, you want to penalize them for having a substance abuse problem and not give them any food or help. Well, that doesn't seem right, seeing as it is a valid illness, a valid sickness, so you're going to take away their help to eat. That doesn't seem right either. Abuse of the system is not good, and there has to be ways to stop it. But by denying a large group of people help when they need it the most, and we're talking about food here, man. Food is like air, you know. It's to deny somebody that. And like I said, what are you going to do? Are you going to require all of their medical histories? Their doctor, you know, that's very personal, and that would involve a lot of legal work, I'd imagine, you know, handing over people's privacy when it comes to medical records and prescriptions are very personal. So what are they're just going to deny everybody? So somebody gets hurt on the job, has to have an operation, a gallbladder operation, needs some painkillers, and now they're out of work. They need food, but they can't get it because they're going to test positive for painkillers for the operation. Yeah. You know what? It seems like it's a good chance it's going to hurt people that need it the most. The people that were specifically, this safety net was designed for, specifically, are going to be some of the ones that are hurt the most by this. And that's a god-awful thing, man. You know, if you get hurt or an operation and you can't, and you're already getting a quarter of your income from disability or whatever, a fraction of what, you know, and you can't work, you need help. This is what these systems are designed for. This great country, the greatest country in the world, America. You would think that we'd be able to help somebody in this little period, these little periods here. And I'm not just saying those people either. There's people that just need help. Maybe it's even long term. And I don't think this is taking a lot of money when you consider the corporate welfare out there, the subsidies, the money that people throw around, the money that Trump spends on golfing alone. How many families could that feed in food stamps? But Trump supporters have no problem with paying millions of dollars for Trump's golf and golf cart rentals. No problem. Tax money? Sure. He deserves it. He's a great American. Great white, old, middle-aged, or old American Republican. He deserves all our tax dollars. But yeah, if you're a minority, or if you have a substance abuse problem, if you get hurt on the job, you're working week to week, paycheck, nah, no help for you. Too bad. Shouldn't have got hurt. Shit out of luck. Maybe go to the food pantry. Maybe they'll give you a can of tuna fish. You can split it with your family. The greatest country in the world. All right, that's all I have to say for today.